Everything that we do reflects our understanding of what is reality and reflects our understanding of what's going to make me happy and what's going to make me sad. I mean, all of this highfalutin philosophy that I talk about all the time is meaningful to me for one very simple reason. It helps me figure out how to get up in the morning and how to make the day work. You know, everything just comes down to as one of my early mentors put it, he said, it's all about making your day. It's all about just getting through from morning to night in such a way that you feel that you've done the best you can do, that you've done some good for the world, that you're pleased and proud of yourself. And even though some of what I say may feel a little bit out there for you when you start talking about reincarnation and chakras and things that are not so, that you can't hold in your hand in quite the same way that you can pick up your teacup and have your morning tea, but nonetheless, they're useful. They're really useful. And in fact, I really am not interested in the spiritual path on any level that I can't actually apply. And one of the brilliant things about my teacher, Swami Kriyananda, who was a direct disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda, is no matter how big the idea, he was always able to bring it down to a simple something that I myself had already experienced. And in fact, you have to build your spiritual life not on great philosophical questions. The phrase we always used was the galactic gases and how they come together, but on your getting up in the morning and how you're going to make your day. And one of the incredibly useful ideas for every day is what we call the 8 manifestations of God. And this is a very ancient teaching, one that Paramahansa Yogananda explained in great detail from the very beginning when he came from India to the West and started talking about all of these teachings, which at the time were relatively unknown in the US, virtually unknown in the US. He was one of the first Indian masters to come to this country, and he had to explain to a very practical Western world how this Himalayan yogi teaching actually mattered. And one of the things he talked about is the 8 ways that the divine manifests in creation. And here's why it matters. Because here we are, the whole teaching of the spiritual path, the whole point of the spiritual path is to change our radio receiving station. We are not really independent. Our thoughts are really not our own. Once they're inside our heads, they feel like that. But we don't create realities. We merely tune into a certain vibration and then become an expression of that vibration. I mean, think about it for a minute. You can be with someone who has an inclination to be negative and depressed. The two of you can be having exactly the same experience if your radio station, so to speak, is tuned to gratitude and appreciation and enthusiasm, then you will have an experience of gratitude, appreciation, and enthusiasm. The person next to you who's keyed to cynicism and depression and negativity and unhappiness will look at exactly what you're looking at and draw completely different conclusions. So this is something that once we really understand that if I change my inner attitude, if I lift my consciousness or direct my consciousness in certain ways, then I become completely different. So here's what the 8 manifestations are, just to say it out loud. These are the building blocks of creation, the bricks in which this world is built. God comes into the world as love, as peace, as joy, as calmness, wisdom, energy, sound, and light. Now, all of those things have certain characteristics and can be explained at greater length. And on other long form videos, which you can find on YouTube, I really go into this at great length. But now I'm just going to explain the principle to you. Okay, so here I am in a situation, and somebody's doing something that's very upsetting to me. They're talking in ways that I don't really like. They're saying things about me that I don't want to hear. I do not love them. You can be told, oh, love everyone, always be kind to everyone. But somebody is talking to me in such a way that does not inspire love in my heart. So this is literally how I work with this. I think, well, there are 8 manifestations of God, and love is might be a good idea at this point, But love is not accessible to me. That station, that radio station is just, it's nothing but static at this point. So I can go through the other ideas, the other 8 manifestations. I do not feel in the company of this person. I do not feel peaceful either. But hey, maybe I could just stay calm. How about that? Let me see if I could just be calm at this particular point. And calm is working fairly well. So then there's also the concept of, let me think, oh, sound. So sound, now that's a really good option because I could begin to tell this person what I think about them. And I could make a lot of noise, but I don't think that noise would be either helpful or uplifting at this point. And if I stay calm, I don't have to make those sounds because now what sound should I make? Oh, yes, silence. That's also a sound. So I'm going to manifest of the 8 manifestations of God. I'm not going to manifest love. I do not feel peaceful, but I could be calm and I could be silent. Look at me. Oh, there's one more. There's energy. So how could I use energy? Well, I could get up and I could pick up some hard or even a soft object and bop this person in the head. That would be a nice expression of energy, very satisfying to me. But I think it would violate the concept of calm. But maybe I could put out energy. Oh, I know what I could do. I could get up and walk away. And that would be a manifestation of energy. That would be one of the 8 manifestations of God right at this particular moment. You see how it works? And let's say another situation that it's like, let's think about wisdom for a minute. I'm going to just, let's stay with the same person who's being so unkind to me. What is wisdom at this point? If I tell them they're being a jerk, is that really going to be a wise and helpful thing to say? Even though I'm not able to manifest much love or any love at this point, I can think about wisdom. And wisdom would be that if I just start responding in kind, then I'm just going to escalate this argument. Would that be wise? I don't think that would be wise. I think it would be better to remain calm and silent and eventually use my energy to walk away. But you see, one of these manifestations is always going to be available to you. And that's what we're working with here. And it's exceedingly entertaining in the sense that it keeps your interest and your creativity up. In any situation when you're not sure what to do, yes, of course, you can pray. You can ask God to inspire you. You can recite a mantra. You can sing a song. You could do any of those things. But if you think of any of them, they're all related to the 8 manifestations. A mantra is a sound. Singing a song can be a love song that you sing in that particular moment. You can sing a song that creates peace if you want. You're using sound. You can visualize light at the spiritual eye. In other words, you can express wisdom in this context. And sometimes energy is just simply the most useful thing you can do. If you're upset, if you don't feel like doing the work that you really have to do that needs to be done, well, you can put out energy in some way. One of my favorite statements from a well-known author was, she said, if it wasn't for my writing deadlines, she said, I would never get my housework done. And what she means by that, anybody who's a writer, and I'm a writer also as well as a speaker, it's like when you have something that you have to do that you don't feel like doing, but if I put out energy in another direction, the energy starts moving. And once the energy starts moving and I'm energized again, then I can go back and do what I really need to do. But I wouldn't have been able to do it if I just sat there without any energy. So I find another way to get the energy moving, and then I can direct it toward its main objective. What is this? This is wisdom, isn't it? And this is also love. I love the work that I'm doing. It's just that I don't have the energy to deal with it now. So I'll generate energy over here. And if you get these ideas very clearly in your mind, get these 8 manifestations clearly figured out, and learn to practice each when the opportunity arises, you'll find that in all circumstances, and I really mean that, in all circumstances, you'll be able to apply one of these manifestations, and it will keep you always moving in a positive direction. What you have to understand, spiritual growth is not a matter of absolutes. You just don't go from here to this perfect, this perfect, this perfect. It's directional. We're always trying to move our energy toward what our highest goal is. And our highest goal in this is to escape from the limitations of our small identity so that we become constantly attuned to the greater reality of which we are a part and are able to live in this world in a dynamic, practical, and effective way. The 8 manifestations of the divine are one of the most interesting, practical, useful, and creative tools that you can embrace. Learn about it, experiment with it, and I think you'll be delighted with the results.